You're watching Straight Black Love Talk with your host, DC Radical One, the home of intelligent, mature relationship conversations.
All right, let's try this again. Be before they straight black pride brothers and sisters. This is your brother DC Radical One. Welcome to SBL Talk. Apologize for the slight glitch today, and thank you, Be before they to the ISP. Thank you for letting me know y'all couldn't hear me because I literally was asking, "Can y'all hear me?" So as I was asking you, you let me know the answer to that is no. So I greatly appreciate that. Yeah, as I was saying, this is SBL Talk. I'm your host, DC Radical One. You can follow me on social media at DC.Radical1, on Twitter, DC Radical _ONE, on OTW Tube at DC Radical One, and you can donate via Cash App $ DC Radical One. So I have a special guest co-host tonight who basically is going to probably be a permanent co-host for SBL. And it's a sister that think pretty highly of, very intelligent sister. And she's about this work. So we have decided to collaborate with the suggestion of several other people. And this will be our first collaboration. And the subject matter is a subject that she brought up. So hopefully we will have more people come in. Because I'm kind of waiting, if you can't tell, kind of stalling. But when I thought about it, what I thought about was the fact that in the interest of Mayat, truth, justice, righteousness, reciprocity, and balance, what could be more balanced than having a sister to co-host the show? I know I've seen people with men and women who, I guess, co-host podcasts or whatever, but those people they seem to be more at odds than anything else. So hopefully we won't be greatly at odds, although I think that would push the ratings up. But what I'm going to do is do the straight black pride pledge first, and then I'll bring our sister on shortly after that. So you can say it with me or not. The choice is up to you. All right, so let us begin. And yes, I know we don't have music. Hold on, the music. Let's see. Can y'all hear that? Because I can't hear it. So y'all let me know if y'all can hear the music. Put a 1 if you can hear it, because it's not playing on my end. Okay, there it is. Anyway, and y'all let me know whether y'all like that song or something else. I don't have a lot of options right now. All right, thank you, sister. Right, so let us begin. It says, I pledge allegiance to my straight, black, and proud ancestors, and to the culture and traditions which they founded. I vow to practice those traditions of straight black love, family building, and nation building to the best of my ability, using all my life's energy, intelligence, and creativity. I also vow to do everything in my power to protect black men, black women, and especially black children from sexual abuse, homosexuality, exploitation, and miseducation, as long as I'm mentally, physically, and spiritually able. Lastly, I vow to fight against any force, physical foe, ideology, or philosophy which threatens the straight, black, and proud culture, regardless of origin. This I pledge in the name of my African ancestors and the divine creator. Ashe. Now, before I bring the sister on, let me say this. I don't know what's going on the last 2 days with our ratings, with our views. The last live stream I put up was literally the worst live stream I've had as far as viewership. Right now we have half as many people as we had last night. I don't know if it's YouTube. I'm just gonna say this, man. If y'all want quality content, and if you think this quality content, we got to get the views up. And if you don't think this quality content, then just say that, and we'll move forward from there. So I just had to say that because I'm noticing the more content I put out, the more the viewership declines. Now, again, that could be the powers that be at YouTube, which we know wear tiny hats, right? But I had noticed it, and so I thought talk about it because I got somebody got to tell me what's going on. So, all right, that's my rant. I'm done. And I'm going to bring on our sister so she can tell us what inspired tonight's discussion. So, sister, give me a thumbs up if you're ready. Okay. So, I don't like this setup. Hold on. I don't really like this setup either, but I guess this is what we got to go with. All right, sister, BB40. Hold on. Yeah. Okay, let me hold on. Let me dead the music real quick because it's distracting me. I don't know if it's distracting anybody else. And it seems like it limits communication. And if you don't have headphones, I think it tends to echo. So we're just going to get rid of that. So, how are you?
I'm well. Thank you. How are you?
Depends on how many people show up tonight.
You got to be well regardless of the amount of people that show up. Because people can always go back and watch.
Yeah, but they didn't. I mean, I hear you, but they didn't go back and watch last night. I was shocked when I saw the numbers this morning. I was like, I've never had any live stream that low. And like I said, this is trending lower than that. And I don't know what's going on. I don't know if they're sending out notifications. I know Instagram, anytime I put out anything that's positive, or anything that's positive or anything that's about like black love and stuff like that, it doesn't really get views like that. So I have noticed that about Instagram. I hadn't noticed it about YouTube. So, so let me ask you this, because you told me we were talking, and what was that, last night? And I said, you got any ideas for SBL? And you told me about this essay that you had wrote. So break down this essay and this concept.
Okay. So this essay came out of the frustration of not this prior election, but 2020. So going all the way back.
to the Biden election and seeing the way that Black women played a heavy role in not only guiding our community, but even other communities as well, to the point where white women were saying, like, we just need to do what the sister, do what the Black women are saying to do. So it's like, it was nice to see the quote unquote clout that we had, but it also was disheartening because we're not going in a direction that is well thought out. It's really coming off of just the emotions from what I can tell. It's just coming off the emotions of what we think is the right thing to do for us. Not even really for our whole community, but we're just trying to do for us right now. And I was very frustrated with it because I'm somebody that represents the community. I'm a Black woman living in America, unfortunately. So I I hate the idea that I can walk down the street and Black men or any group of people can look at me and think that I would ever be in that kind of mindset, because I'm not. So yeah, I just wrote down my thoughts on the topic, and it got to what really is a woman's worth.
Okay. So I guess you have seen, oh, I don't know. I should ask. You've seen the slides. I did add the slides, and I did add to them, or add to what the outline you sent me.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll go through those after this brief intro. So you were saying that this was the 2020 election. So that would have been 2019 then, right? Because what? Oh well, no, that'd have been 2020, and then I forgot the president comes in at 2021. Okay. What, if anything, has changed as far as your views from that time till now?
It's funny you say that because I'd forgotten I wrote it until recently. It came back up and I was like, oh wow, I wrote this. And as I'm reading it, I'm like, this is almost more relevant today than it was back then. The situation has got 1,000 times worse, I would say. So it's there has been no positive change in the department of women leading the community down into the pits.
Well, that ain't good news. Um, so when you wrote that, that was, I guess, that was in the midst of the Kevin Samuels thing. He was still alive.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think about his effect on Black women's thought patterns and the whole relationship dynamic? I don't know if you like followed him or anything, but just from what you saw about how women interacted with the information he was saying, or whatever the case may be, what did you what did you think about that as it was going on?
I didn't follow him. It wasn't honestly until around the time that he passed that it became, everybody posting his clips, and I was able to get a more well-rounded view of him. Because while he was alive, it just came off as, oh, he's bashing women. Women will come on his show and say, so what do you think about me? And he'd rate them numerically and be like, you're a 3, and then kick them off the show, just like for entertainment purposes, it seemed. But then after he passed, it was like, oh, okay, he was actually trying to instill some sense of something value wise, or just a male's perspective for the women. So I personally thought he was gay, and so I didn't take his evaluation of women all that deep, because I'm seeing it as like, oh, he's just coming from the perspective of like, you don't have your nails done, you don't have your hair done, and that holds no value for me. So I didn't think too much of it, for real. And how the women were reacting to it, like I said in the essay that I wrote, the women were like very in their feelings about what he was saying. If it was somebody, you know, that was just being rude, you would think that it would just be like, he's just trolling and you click away. But the women were like very into what he was saying and keep coming back for more abuse from him. And so I thought it was really strange the way that a lot of women reacted to him.
Well, here's what it was. What
Mm.
it took me a while to realize what it was, because I saw him before he got famous, and he was talking about. Everybody talks about in essence, the 666 man, and what that man would want, or how to get that man, or whatever, something to that effect. But he said nobody asked that man what that man wants. Now he seemed like he was sitting in a. It didn't seem like he was driving. It seemed like he was in an Uber or something when he said that. Maybe he was driving. I can't really remember. But this was before he. This was way before he blew up, and and then he changed his image. Right. I always tell people, he said he was an image consultant. I say he looks like an image consultant that went to an image consultant. You know what I'm saying? Because he stopped wearing the sweaters and started wearing the full suits. He got the designer frames. Got a different apartment or whatever, better apartment. So he upgraded everything, and then he presented the image, the aspirational image to black women, right? Because a lot of women will say they want, in essence, the 666 man, 6 figures, 6 feet, and 6 plus. If you can get a 6-pack with that too, that's good. But most women, they say that, but they never even seen that man. Like, they're not in the same socioeconomic spaces where that man is. So when they say, when they have this aspiration or this desire for this man, they don't even know what all that entails. But he gave them what's the word I'm looking for? He gave them an aspirational example and said, yes, this man exists. Yes, this man is available. And here are the things that you need to do to get that man. So that's why women will come on, because they basically assumed, okay, he's one of these guys and he has other friends who are like him, but maybe they're more masculine, right? Because it was obvious his masculinity was in question. I believe there's an issue with his mother and his mannerisms that I'm not going to go into. It's just what I thought. But since he's not here anymore, we'll never know. But I know he had a problem with his mother without question, because he said it publicly. But yeah, he gave black women that, and he represented that that desire for that man, which really is a desire for that lifestyle. It's not really a desire for that man, because to me, it's kind of hard to have a true desire for something that you never even come close to experiencing, right? Like, as long as I've been around, and maybe I'm just an anomaly, I've never had a desire for a supermodel, because the build of a supermodel is not even appealing to me. Like, you know what I'm saying? But it's not realistic. Like, there's no chance of me running into that type of person anywhere in my life. It never has been. Even if I won the lottery, I don't think I would run into that type of person. But I know women think differently. They always think there's an opportunity or a chance that, the best thing that could ever happen in life will happen. Me, personally, I'm pretty much a pessimist. Geez, I never believed the best thing that could ever happen, because it's never happened. I have no empirical evidence. You know what I'm saying? But that's just me. So with that being said, what I want to do is just peace to Taylor Nubia. What I wanted to do is get into these slides, and we can discuss these, and you can give your opinion. So I'll bring these back up and put us on the side, I guess. And you asked the question. So I'm gonna tell the people, you gave me the outline, the framework, and I filled in the blanks to a degree. You asked the question, what is a black woman's worth in 2025? I'm gonna let you take it from there. I'm listening.
I asked the question because I'm asking the question. I more so would want to know how the viewers feel about it. Not be I'm asking the question because I don't know fully, and I think that we would have to come to that conclusion at the end of the discussion because it really does. That's a large. There's a lot of things to take into account when we talk about a woman's
Okay.
worth.
All right. Well, since you asked the question and we don't have a whole lot of people here, I think, and I hate this answer, but I think it's the truth. In today's day and time, I think it's largely subjective. Um, which I hate that answer, but I do think it's the truth. I think it's largely subjective. Because what is, how can I put it? What is the average black woman's worth to a man that's straight black and proud? Not much, because the vast majority of black women are pro homophile, and a larger number of black women than I'm probably willing to admit have engaged in some type of homophilic activity. So the measuring stick of that man, as opposed to the standard run of the mill black man, I would think is somewhat different, right? There's some correlation, but I think it's somewhat different. So if we take black women in the aggregate, right, based upon just what we see, like I can't speak for everywhere. I can only speak for where I live. See more tattoos, weaves, weed smoking, single motherhood, lesbianism, uh, disrespect of men, drug use, violence. I see as much of that as I see regular appearing sane black. You see what I'm saying? Like it's literally, in my experience, it's literally like a 50-50.
50.
And there was just a time when you just it was a time when that was just that level of dysfunction amongst women was limited to a certain area, and you figured if I just go across town, I don't have to see that.
Mm.
Well, in DC now, if you go across town, just ain't no black people. You know what I'm saying? But if you're where the black people are, it's gonna be 50-50. And I hate to say it, but more and more in this city, the black women that seem sane and normal and regular black women, they're not even with black men. So that's a whole different dynamic. So as a black man that likes black women, if there's a black woman that's not that's open or entertaining or looking for a non-black man, that woman has no worth. There ain't no reachbacks on that. Like me personally, I had somebody I was really into, and I found out that they had quote unquote dated, which I hate the term because let's stop the lies. But anyway, a Yurugu when they were younger. And that thing just stuck in the back of my mind. And I realized later, I said, wow, and a lot of my negative interactions with this person really, because that was in the back of my mind. And I didn't, I never accepted it. You know what I'm saying? But that's just an example. So I mean, I think it's a deep question, because if you're a man looking to nation build, the number of qualified women is definitely the lowest it's been in my lifetime. I grew up in the crack era. You see what I'm saying? I grew up in the crack era after Luke and NWA had came up. It's way worse now than it was then, because that was the beginning. Would you, I mean, in DC, if you went to the go-go and you went to the splash parties, would you see some unsightly stuff being done by women and cheered on by men? Absolutely. The men were behind it. In my opinion, like, I don't think the women just woke up one day and say, "Hey, man, let me go to the pool and take off all my clothes." I don't think that's what happened. You know what I'm saying? Before they straight like Friday, brother Elijah. So the men shared it on. Now the next two generations of men later that are coming of age, they have to deal with the consequences of what we encourage, and don't nobody want to take responsibility for that. If you was at the splash party, you encouraged it, this is what you left. If you was listening to Luke, this is what you left. If you was sitting around B-word and N-word with NWA, this is what you left. You know what I'm saying? And if you haven't built anything to counteract that, or you haven't done anything with your life to counteract that, then this is the result of those actions for Black men as a collective. Like, we can't overlook that part. Black men like to overlook that part. They say the women are doing this, that, and the third, and they are, all of it. But we can't say or act as if, right? We can't act as if some brothers wasn't at the splash party or at the Freaknik or at the clubs in Atlanta or Miami, and so forth and so on, right? You can't act like that didn't happen. Now, the younger men, maybe they don't know, because they have yet to point out to the older men and say, "Man, you helped start this. We talking about what the women did, but you, I'm gonna give you a perfect example. It was crazy, and I didn't get to see the whole clip. I don't know what show this was from. I don't know if it was. I don't even, because it was just an Instagram clip, so I don't even know the root of it. But I saw a clip, and it was some older brothers. Looked like they was in their 60s, right? And it was a young man that was, I'll say, looked like he was about 30. So maybe it was a what's the word? Maybe it was a paternal issue, right? The mother wasn't there, so it appeared like she had passed or something. Mm-hmm. And these group of men had all been with the woman, when they were younger, and they were complimenting her. And then one of the men complimented her while her son was there on her bedroom prowess. Like, you see what I'm saying? So you're sitting there with a young man who's trying to find who his father is. I'm assuming that was the context. And you're talking about her bedroom skills, and it appeared that the gentlemen knew each other and that they had all been with her. So basically, you come on national TV, tell this young man, his mother was for the streets and extremely skilled, and then we sit around and talk about the women. Like, that's crazy. This woman wasn't there. I'm assuming she wasn't there because she wasn't here physically. And these are old people. These people older than me, way older than me. Look like, right? Still in pimp and player movies and suits and whatnot. And then we always want to turn around and look at the young people. You can't look at the young people when this is the behavior of should be elders, right? So the question is complex, but at the same time, one thing we know for a fact is the worth is lower than it's been. I think everyone agree to that. I think women are probably agree to it. They won't agree to it publicly. I was watching something else today while I was getting prepared, and they were talking about the dating market, the marketplace, and how women measure themselves. And I'm thinking to myself, Well, the men that are talking, like for example, they call it the sexual marketplace, or women's sexual marketplace value, men's sexual marketplace value. I'm like, well, to me, that should be different than your marriage value, because to some man, every woman's sexual marketplace value is high. But how many women? And like women don't have a problem finding someone to be intimate with. You see what I'm saying? That's not the issue. The issue is who can get a man that to marry them that they want to marry. So that's the, you see what I'm saying? So we using different measuring sticks, and man, it caused a bunch of confusion. Anyway, I've been rambling on. Sister, what do you think about what I just had to say?
Well, I want to go all the way back to where you said the numbers was 50-50. You were saying that it's 50%. Like, why did you say 50-50 on the numbers?
I was saying 50% of women that are just gone with no hope, and then 50% that there's some hope for. That was my 50-50.
Dang, 50-50 as well. Okay. I'm glad that you brought up the reality of the situation, which is that men have been in the habit of devaluing and disrespecting women, and so we're moving in disrespect. We are self-disrespecting. We're disrespecting ourselves because who is around respecting us? Who is trying to uphold us to a place of respecting ourselves, or even telling us that we have the ability to respect ourselves? I'm not saying that somebody has to tell you to respect yourself in order to do so, but if nobody respected your grandmother and nobody respected your mom, why do you think that all of a sudden a new generation is going to pop up and just start, acting with self-respect? I don't see how that was going to happen on a mass level. You have your anomalies, people like me who go against the grain, but for the most part, people aren't going to just go against the grain like that. Um, so I can agree with you that a lot of the blame can be on the men, but at the same time, I think that and I put the spiritual blame on the men, but I think on the logical side of things, it just don't make sense the way that we do. It really don't. Financially, the way that we spend money to try and look good, and we say we're not looking good for the men, but in all honesty, it's like if you're not looking, and we're not talking about the lesbians out here. If you're not trying to look good for, you're not doing your hair and your nails and everything to attract men or just attract positive relationships, and why are you really going in debt or spending all of this money in this way? It just really doesn't make sense. It really don't. Logically, I don't know. I think that this society has made us accept accept the idea that we're allowed to be delusional, or we're supposed to be delusional because we're women. And I think that's a scapegoat. I think that's an easy excuse that people will rather fall into, instead of like being mature about that, what you're doing is out of line. You shouldn't do that. It's unfortunate, but that's where we are for real. That's where we are. Peace, Bibi Pahodie, Sister Shaniqua.
Before this, Sister Shanique. Yeah, what you said, one thing you said about sisters not wanting to go against the grain, yeah, that's a real thing. Because one thing I've seen on the internet is, and not just on the internet, let's be realistic. I'm gonna talk about two extreme things. One we see on the internet where women get attacked for, it's crazy. You see women who not just advocate for black men, but have a black man get attacked and called all types of names and pick me's and this and that. But I always found that hilarious, because the person been picked. They're not a pick me. They've been picked. Okay. Only 25% of women is getting picked. So if we being honest, that's the elite amongst women. That's not me saying it. I'm just saying by the data and statistics. That's the elite. If you are like if you're in the top 25% of earners, people will say, "Oh, this person is the elite amongst earners." You see what I'm saying? Not
Mhm.
like if you're a black person who's in the top 25% of earners in America, people are like, "Oh yeah, you doing it." But when you 25% elite in marriage, you the bad guy, right? So they're going against the grain for women. They're women being more social. That is, you see, you see that on the internet. But even more extreme, we have to forget. Like we tend to forget the situation. And God, I can't think of the young sister's name. The young sister that they all ganged up on and beat up and killed. Was it in Mississippi? I did a video on it. I can't remember her name. And then the other sister in Mexico.
Mm.
The homo is egging it on, and they beat her up. We still don't know for what. We see now to the point where women will physically attack and gang up on and brutalize with 4, 5, 6, 7 women, jump on and murder a woman that they don't like for whatever weird, like not even the weird, like no one, these cases, no one says, "Oh, she beat up my baby, or she spit on my child." Yeah, like there's
Yeah.
nothing. When they find out the case, like, well, what happened? Well, I mean, people be coming up with all types of stuff. That's how you know they lying. Cause don't nobody's story be straight. Oh, she
Mhm.
owed somebody some money. Oh, she called somebody a B. Oh, she did it. You know what I'm saying? You got 8 people around there, all I'm saying a different story. And that's when you like, nah, y'all just don't like her because y'all some haters. And it's crazy. But that's where we are. But what I try to tell the men is, as much as our women say they don't follow us, they don't like us, and all the disrespect. One thing that women do, they still follow, they still imitate. It's just a lag time. It's like when you got bad internet. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't happen immediately. It just happens eventually. So let's be honest. As black men, we've been shooting at each other for over 30 years now, 35 years. We've been killing each other at the highest rate that anybody's killing anybody in this country for 35 years, right? Don't nobody want to talk about that part.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Since was I even a teenager? Since I was barely a teenager, we've been shooting at each other as men. Now we see our women doing all types of heinous crimes, killing people, women killing women, women killing men, women killing children. Something that was unheard of when I was growing up. Just being completely honest. And now it's seemingly you see it every day on the internet. But who are they following? They just a generation behind the men. But when you tell the men that, see, nobody don't want to take responsibility for that. So as much as we say the women don't be voting, but so much as we say the women don't follow us or the women don't listen, and the women may not. It's like your child. Sometimes your child will give you some back talk, but guess what? They still end up doing what you say. Or your child will act like they not listening, and then when they get older, they be quoting you. Because I've done that with my mother. You know what I'm saying? My mother told me, "Hey, the rest of your life is like 13th grade." I was like, "Whoa, that 13th grade, that's crazy." And then after a while, I was like, "Man, this job is like 13th grade." My mother was right. You know what I'm saying? I not that I disagree with her, but when she said it, it was so wild. It was like,
Mhm.
I
That is
hope she's
true.
wrong.
That is true.
Like I hope she's wrong because I don't. 60 years of 13th grade is not what I'm looking forward to. I don't get it. And yet here we are. It, we could be locked in 10th grade. To be completely honest, the way we're regressing. So God, man, I just went on a tangent now. Just My bad. I just
I hear you. I would argue your point though and say that the women aren't necessarily following the men. Like we're not necessarily a generation behind the men as far as the chaos. It's more so that our people have been falling in line or falling in place to Yoruba's plan of our own self-destruction. So the men have to start, right? Because it makes more sense for them to turn the men against each other, them start killing themselves. Because once the men are gone, then we just out here, with nobody to protect us even from ourselves. So I wouldn't say it was like we're following the men. It's just now is our time in Yoruba's plan. You know what I mean?
right. I'm gonna address Sister Tila because that's a mythology right there about so many men being locked up. If this was the 90s, that would be true. Those First of all, those most of those men that are locked up, they were not good men. Everybody wasn't Mumia Abu Jamal. Your reason for being locked up, if you basically beheaded Yurugu, okay, that's what you locked up. Hey, we get it,
That's
right?
a good
If you
man.
Mumia, if you Mumia Abu Jamal, if you uh Imam Jamil Alameen, cool, no problem. That's a good man. You know what I'm saying? Joe Bro that robbed the liquor store and shot two people, that's not a good man. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we even talking about here? There's nothing good about him. That's one of the people that ain't never been good. You ain't even robbing a bank. You robbing a liquor store. Ain't no money in there. You know what I'm saying? You're not even committing crimes that are worth committing. You know what I'm saying? You kill somebody over their shoes and all types of wild stuff. Like, come on, man. We got to get out of this myth that there's some good men. No, they're not. We got a bunch of pedophiles, creeps, weirdos, robbers, and murderers of black people that's locked up. And when they get out, guess what? They do the same thing that they was doing before. That's why they go back in there and get locked up a second time.
Sound
So they're not
personal,
good men.
Brother Conrad.
The only good men are those who are doing race work. Everybody else is not qualified.
I mean, yeah, if you say it like that, the numbers do go down. The only men that qualify as good men are the men that are doing race work. Then you're right. I give you that.
Yeah, that's my rant. My bad. You know what I'm saying? But I've heard that so much that I'm just like, nah, we
I
ain't
mean,
passing that off
it
after
is true
35
that a
years.
lot of our men have been locked up for generations now, and it is true that you could say that. All right, so just because a man isn't doing race work, he didn't even get the opportunity to do race work because now he got to deal with being on the inside. He didn't even get the opportunity to get to a point where, you know what I'm saying? Like he might was supposed to be doing race work if he was out on the streets, but because he has to deal with what all's going on the inside, and he didn't get the opportunity to become a good man potentially. Just try and give some slack because you made it seem like every brother in jail right now, if he not a political prisoner, they might as well just off him. It's like, whoa, chill.
Hey man, I don't even accept no excuses no more, especially from brothers over here. Because I'm like, hey, are you George Jackson in it? Nope. Okay, like, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? If you gonna come out and be like the brother in Baltimore, what's the name? PLM and them. Okay, cool. He was locked up. Now he doing work. All right, cool. But other than that, I'm not really into giving brothers no pass because I see too many of them around and they not. You know what I'm saying? Like the Million Man March allegedly is 1 million people there, and we all made a pledge. So what happened? And then there's other people watching on TV and they made a pledge. So I'm not accepting no excuses from people that's especially anybody over 45. I'm not accepting no excuse. I'm
Yeah.
just not.
No, I feel you. Because what the sister was saying is that there's a lack of men, a lack of good men because they're locked up. And it's like, even if they weren't locked up, would they really be, striving towards sovereignty in the way that we need the men to be? Probably not. They would be out here being a regular person, doing regular things. So I feel you with that.
Right, sis. And you say it to me, it sounds personal. Yeah, because I was in an organization where we was fighting drug dealers. So yeah, it's personal.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's personal with me, right? Because we could have been doing something in the community, but we have to stop you from destroying the community before we can even build anything.
Right.
So yeah, with that it's personal. And everybody know that I ain't even gonna lie. Like forgiveness and what the sister said one time, man, have some compassion. Yeah, I gotta work on that. Forgiveness, compassion, humanity. Yeah, those are not my strong suits at all. So I admit my faults.
It's
But I
the other word that you use a lot too, nuance. Gotta give it some nuance.
yeah. So um let me get back to the slides and try to get back on course because I feel like I am taking it. I feel like I'm taking the discussion. Of course, with my personal baggage. You know what I'm saying? I can see somebody watching this be like, man, brother, you sound like you hate our people. No, I don't hate our people. You know what I'm saying? I hate the enemies amongst us. I don't hate our people. You know what I'm
The
saying?
enemies within us is the part, and
Right,
that's
right.
really what the overall discussion is like, Matt, can we listen to the essay?
Do you I mean, I think you
Do
should
we
have
need to?
the ability to bring it up. You have it. You have the file on your computer.
I do. I don't know how to work it though. If you can't do it, then it's fine. It's okay.
Well,
I'll,
you would have to send it. You would have to send it to me if that's the case.
okay.
But you should be able to upload it. Um,
Where would I?
since with the privileges that I gave you, since you were able to load yourself up. Is it an audio file or video file?
It's a video.
Okay, yeah. Where it says the same way you brought yourself up, the same what you clicked on is click on that and it should pop up. So while the sister's doing that, I'm
I
going to
mean,
bring up, huh?
is it media access? Is it new scene? Is it? You can give me some
No,
guidance.
present. Where it says present or invite, it should go up in there, and then it'll ask you video file or whatever type of file, and then you can go from there. So while the sister's getting herself together with that, um, oh, let me guess. 1 hour in and one slide in. Um, Basically, the sister she wrote that men on social media are largely declaring that black women are not worth the chase, fight, respect, or finance. And I wrote that why are men saying this is partially a response to black women on social media saying that they don't need men. So if you say you don't need men, and you say it long enough, and you've been saying it for a while now, eventually men are gonna be like, all right, cool. And that's why men say it's not worth the chase, especially, and it's weird because now we've reached this weird paradox where seemingly there are more men who claim they want to be married and in a serious relationship than women. And so if that's what you're looking for, then most women aren't worth the chase. Just that's just a reality. It's not, to me, it's not debatable. Are you having any success with that system?
I believe I just uploaded it.
Okay, let me check and see. Okay, yeah, I see it.
Okay.
I'm gonna play that after we get to the slide. Uh, and a lot of black men, from what they express, don't feel like black women respect them or even like the majority of black men. And I believe that, but I don't believe that that's the women's fault. I believe that's the men's fault.
A woman's worth.
Hey, oh, you started it already?
No, it wasn't me. Well, no.
Okay. Um, Oh, wait a minute. You just took it off.
Yeah, I got it. I'm figuring it out.
Okay. Um, Here's what's really going on. And only people who do race work would actually understand what's going on. Subconsciously, black women have generational memory of black men not being cowards. And in the modern context, there are very few examples of that. I'll give you a perfect example. I'll give you a few examples, actually. When we went up to New York, right, to call Bang Booty to the carpet, sisters were out there crying and cheering and clapping. Why? Because somebody had the testicular fortitude to say, we're not, we're sick of allowing our children to be violated by these weirdos. Right? Perfect example. Another example. See, people don't know this. Do people really think that the men of the Nation of Islam in the 80s would actually go out there and beat up dudes that have shotguns if they weren't supported by black women? Nobody's going to do that if they're not supported by black women. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen to what I just said. Unarmed men went into a drug infested community and beat up drug dealers who were armed. That does not take place without the support of black women. I don't care how much religious belief you had. You ain't see no Christians out there. You see what I'm saying? It's only because of the support of the black women and the belief in a higher power. Those two things together. Because one, once you do it, you can go back, you can get you some bean pie, you can get some bean soup, you can get you get a pat on the back. The best looking sister there is gonna be like, well, I know that brother ain't no coward. You know what I'm saying? I mean, hey, if you out there, you the man. You know what I'm saying? And if you not out there, you like, maybe I should have been out there.
Mhm.
Maybe I'll be on the next patrol. Maybe I get a chance to smack up somebody. Right? Like these things don't take place without the support of the sisters. So one thing that changed is, and this is actually the second time this has happened. The sister Tila beat me to the punch. The first time that they changed it is, and I always point this out to people, the Panthers were the highest level of black masculinity when they came out. 66, 67, 68, 69. So what happened? Well, one of the things they did, we always talk about them attacking with the feminism, right? Which they did. You know what we never talk about? Why do you think they came out with the black exploitation movies? Why do you think they made mockery of the revolutionaries and the black exploitation movies? Why do you think they changed what the highest level of masculinity was? You went from the Panthers, you went from Huey and Bobby. Sisters had posters of Huey on their wall. This poster where he was sitting down and the poster with the picture where he had no shirt on. They had both of them. You know what I'm saying? But then the Mac was the level of masculinity. Uh, what was the other one? Because they started off with Richard Roundtree, right? But that wasn't. That was just leading into other stuff. They started off with Shaft with Richard Roundtree, but then it was the Mac and Pimp this and Superfly and all that stuff, right? All the Dolomite, all that stuff, and it changed the perception of women of what the most desirable man was, right? We never talk about that psychological attack. Then you had, of course, Color Purple, another psychological attack. We now know that the person that directed that is connected directly with Mossad. Steven Spielberg connected directly with Mossad through the Mega organization, right? This is just I already documented that. But now in the modern context, if you look at hip hop, you went from Public Enemy and PRT and all them people, right? They were the big they were the big artists, and then next thing you know, you got just name it, everybody. Like Tupac became the women's icon. Well, what's the problem with Tupac? Being completely honest, Tupac's very Gemini nature was the problem. Because 1 minute is keep your head up, the next minute is I get around. You know what I'm saying? One album is a soldier story. The next album is thug life. You know what I'm saying? So women literally are looking for that type of man. Uh, the the men always joke Tupac in the suit. Well, if Tupac wasn't Tupac, Tupac in the suit wouldn't be desired. You see what I'm saying? He had to, a real person had to embody that in order for it to become appealing, right? And that imagery, it affected the mind of the women just like it affected the mind of the men. But we never talk about it. But somebody has to be that in order for it to be propped up, right? Like a perfect example, and then I'll stop rambling, is when Salt from Salt and Pepper, years later, was talking about she wished she had hollered at Will Smith instead of Tretch. Now, I have my problems with Will Smith, but the Will Smith that she was talking about probably hadn't been initiated by Hollywood, when she was talking about it. But the idea that Tretch, whose first hit was Ghetto Bastard, is going to make a good husband doesn't make any sense. Oh, did we lose a sister? Sister, let us
No,
know. Okay. But then she talked about that regret. Yeah, I guess 30 years after the fact. I don't know how long she's been holding that in or whatever, but it sounds crazy. Like it took you 30 years to say one of these men might be husband material and the other one wasn't. I could have told you Tresh wasn't husband material because first of all, he's hanging around with Tupac. You know what I'm saying? That was his best boy. Oh man. But anyway, sister, what do you think about me rambling on and then we're gonna play the actual essay?
I have no comments on your ramblings. It was all accurate.
All right. Well, we're gonna play the essay and then we'll take it from there. Okay. All right, here we go.
A woman's worth. We know about black girl magic. We know women are the bearers of children and culture. We respect and honor our warrior queens before us. But in today's age, has a woman's worth changed? Has it decreased or increased in value? I'm no Kevin Samuels, but I did think it was quite interesting how many women entertained his ideas and tried to prove themselves better than his overgeneralizations. Almost as if the women entertaining him felt a little bit guilty. Let's be real about it. Black women showed their whole entire ass last year. And I don't mean getting booties to the polls. I'm talking about the black feminazis that shot down Ice Cube's reasonable proposal to not just vote Democrat, because that's what we've been doing for generations, but make both parties give us something for our vote. Tangible solutions and not valueless symbols of false victory. Black women strong-armed the black family into voting for the old white that said you ain't black for a few reasons. 1, the tradition of voting for blue Democrats. 2, the mental love affair with Obama somehow meant his VP becoming president would give Barack another term. 3, The Greek cultural confusion. The sorority swine wore pearls and rallied behind an Indian woman that professionally murders black men because she went to Howard, and that somehow, in their menticidal mind, made her a black woman. A black woman that said flat out, I'm not going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. No. How can we say black women carry the culture if black women can't even recognize who is a black woman? How can we trust black women moving forward if they refuse to accept this monumental mistake and help the community regroup? Can your menticide deplete your value, your worth as a black woman? The New Black Star line on Instagram recently said, some black women are destroying black boys, and black women are sometimes the cause of black on black crime. If this is true, and only a sprinkle of the black women population is causing this harm, why aren't the other quote-unquote good apples isolating the lone wolf attackers? Maybe it's not just a sprinkle. Maybe the problem is larger than we care to see. It sounds quite similar to the young woman on camera saying to black women, get off the phone. Stop calling people with drama because you got your ego hurt. Stop calling your brothers to pull up and hurt somebody when no one put hands on you. You're killing our warriors over petty beef when the war is attacking on all fronts. We let small hats and other groups dictate our culture, and thus bad character oozes into our glands, infecting our unborn children and our pineals with the curse of death by stagnation. Like a cancer. We can either pinpoint the cancer and take it out of the body of our community, or flush the community with such positivity the cancer can no longer exist in a state of alkalinity. Imagine a soursop cleanse wiping through the streets like a great flood, and only those on the ark can survive to the next chapter. The positivity our community needs is ma'at, truth, justice, righteousness, reciprocity, balance, order, harmony. Truth alone will wipe out all the feminazi lies, such as black men don't love black women, and vice versa. Justice will be reestablishing the black man in his rightful place in the family and the world. Righteousness is the reprogramming of character that our people so desperately need. Character does not mean a fake image on TV. It means how you treat the world around you, how pure your heart is. Reciprocity is our people giving back the negative energy thrown at us from other groups of people, no longer purchasing from brands that despise us and want us dead. Balance starts at the home, rebuilding our home place and filling it with the love and joy we've been craving to create. Order will be restored in the streets of our community, and programs that benefit, yes, benefit only black communities, operated by only black people. Only then will true harmony flourish and be protected from the war raging outside.
All right, sister. Before they, brother, you got ripped off. That was a lot there. And I'm just gonna let you take it from there. I don't even know if there's a question. Just give us your thoughts on what you wrote and stated.
The only thing I can think is going back to what you said earlier about how black women will be prepared to jump on another black woman. For me to say what I said, although it has the positive intention of I want better for our people, and although it has real solutions at the end of it, I think that people, the average woman, would see that, and I would get called all of the pick me's and the recently people, oh, you need to step up, like, you know, you just being pessimistic. It's like, no, it's not pessimism. If I can look around and see the state of our children in these school systems, if I can look around and see the state of our communities with drugs and all kinds of, you know, issues of homelessness, is not just it. Homelessness is not just an issue of the government and Trump in this most recent thing. Homelessness is our own community issues, because why do we have so many people that are unaccounted for? So many people, all of these homes that we have, and nobody can find a room for these people. Where are their families? Why are we disconnected? It is our own internal issue. I think that people like to put on the rose filtered glasses and look around and say, you know, anybody that has an excuse or a complaint, I should say, anybody that has a complaint, they'll easily find an excuse to say, oh no, you're just complaining. Everything is fine. I'm fine, so you should be fine too. It's like, no, I can't say that. I can't say that everything is fine, because it's not. It just really is not. And it's only out of my own courage that I have the ability to not only write something like that, but then put it out to the world, because like I said, I already know the amount of hatred that I would get from my perspective. But it is what it is. I'm willing to take it.
All right, brother, you got ripped off. Give the Barudis our love, and
Yes.
let them know that we appreciate the work that they've done, and they've done a lot to inspire the work that I do. Baba's books were very much instrumental in my spiritual development and my understanding that one can develop character outside the framework of religion. So,
No, me
brother,
too.
enjoy yourself. Go ahead, sister.
I said, Namimi Pia, me as well. Send the Barutis my love and admiration.
Okay. I think we'll finish the slide.
I don't know if you said the last one about the majority of Black women under 40 having children, and so men see it
Okay.
as a financial burden.
Yeah, that is definitely a reality. That was really because, as I've said in multiple SBLs, that imbalance is a real thing. You know, talking to younger brothers, a few years ago, when a brother I know was looking for a wife, he got some things in order financially and stuff like that, and he would talk about, well, first he was talking about our women being out of shape. That was the first thing he was talking about. Then he was talking about the number of women with children. And what I realized was that, man, he's saying some of the same things that I experienced when I was younger. We just accepted it. We just took it as part for the course. Um, but now you're talking about a whole nother a generation behind. And that generation is like, well, nah, I'm not gonna do what y'all did. My bad with the mic. I'm not gonna do what y'all did because I've seen the outcomes. Y'all don't have very many good outcomes to show us, so we're not gonna do what you did. And I can't, as much as I would like to argue with that, results speak for themselves. I remember an incident, and it shocked me because I knew everybody involved. The brother I know, brother I respect, Muslim. I know the sister he married. I knew them separately before they got together. Right? They're both Muslims. The sister he married, knew her daughter since she was young, and good. She was good, smart, well behaved young woman. And then I remember one time we were talking, and brother was like, "Yeah, man, she saw it acting up and this and that," and I tried to discipline her. And then she turned around and said, well, you're not my father anyway. And the hurt in that brother's eyes when he said that. And I was shocked because I was like, well, if one of her the sister's sons had said it, I'd be like, yeah, yeah. But that little girl, who's not a little girl anymore, basically she might be a grown woman by now, because this was some years ago. She said that, I was just like, it wasn't even nothing we could say. We just sit around looking at each other like, you serious? But I know the brother ain't gonna lie. But you know what I'm saying? I was just in disbelief. And it wasn't nothing nobody could say. And as a man, you just take that on the chin. But the younger men that were around that heard it, I know in the back of their mind, they were like, and that's why I'm not going, you know what I'm saying? Nobody said nothing. But I know in the back of their mind, they were like, and that's why I'm not going to fill in the blanks. So that is an issue. And it's not an easily solvable issue because we already got more women than men. So there's already not a 1-to-1 ratio for us to get together. And then we already have more women who have reproduced than men that have reproduced, which is also weird. And then somebody said, well, I remember when somebody said, well, you either got to come to one or two conclusions. Either a minority of men are impregnating the women, or there are more women getting impregnated by men outside the race than we think. And what I realize is that both of those things are true. And none of that helps the dynamic of us trying to build families, right? And it's my personal belief that those sisters that have children by various men, because can we be honest here? For the most part, women are not having multiple children by the modern day Huey P. Newton. You know what I'm saying? Not, you're not getting pregnant by the modern day Malcolm X. And you're saying there is no modern day Malcolm X. Exactly my point. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know a lot of brothers in the movement, and to be honest, most of the brothers I have known in the movement over the years, most of them, they're either married with children or they're unmarried without children. I don't know a lot of baby daddies. I know like a couple of brothers that are divorced, but like just randomly having children, I don't know. I don't. Now maybe it's because of the circle that I'm with, but I don't know a lot of baby daddies. How many of them are in other movements in other cities? That's a whole different discussion. I don't know. But just the circle that I've been around and the brothers that I have met in the movement over the years, it's not a lot of that. So I think that's another thing that nobody really talks about is it's not just that sisters have children, but it's sisters have children that other men don't respect. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think sisters take that part into account, because if we gotta ask, how you get pregnant? If we have to ask how you got pregnant by that dude, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be hard for you. When times get hard, as a man, that's what you're gonna be thinking about. You're like, man, this bro got pregnant by that knucklehead. What am I doing? Every time the argument starts, in the back of your mind, the man is like, "Oh, I bet you ain't get back talking to JoJo." You know what I'm saying? Because he would have bust you upside your heads. You know what I'm saying? But you want to give me some static right now. See, but men ain't gonna. We'll talk about that, as they say, in polite company. No, but that's real. What you think about that, sister?
I don't fancy it too much because it's like it goes along with that the notion that like once a woman has started a life aside from the man that she ends up with, she's soiled, and then that's just that. Like I understand where the perspective that you all are coming from, but it's not not something that we would like to hear. Even like what you were saying earlier with the little girl, it was like, well, you're not my dad anyway. Is it that the men have twisted in their mind to make it that they are her father, or is it that like I don't know. I guess I can understand where the hurt comes from, but with it being the truth, I don't see why it's so hurtful that now you're gonna give up the responsibility. You know what I mean? Like I don't have to be somebody's mother in the community to discipline them, regardless of like whatever the situation is. You doing something wrong. I don't need to be your mom to tell you that you're doing something wrong. And you telling me that I'm not your mom don't change what I'm saying. You need to stop what you're doing. You like because it's you're trying to hurt me. You're trying to say that I don't have the authority to discipline you. And for him to accept that and be like, dang, she's right. I'm not her father. It's kind of like I feel like I low key feel like you should rise above that and just be the adult in the situation. And then you can go lick your wounds afterwards and be like, dang, I really do kind of feel like like that was hurtful or whatever. But I don't know.
Well, I'm gonna say this: it's hurtful because in our mind, I'm better than your father because he ain't here, so he's worthless. And so you compare me to a person that is worth nothing. Is the ultimate
Dang,
disrespect
worth nothing.
because either you doing your job or you ain't. Like if you're not doing your job in any other realm, you get fired, right? And they don't even think about you no more. Nobody sits around and talk about, man. After the first week, no one says, "Dang, I can't believe they fired so and so." No one says that. You out of here. Well, you had a job to do as a father. You ain't do it.
I
Okay.
mean, that's not
Like
true. There's plenty of situations where there was somebody that was a team player, like a key player in the office, and now because they're gone, things are falling apart, and people are looking back like, dang, I wish they hadn't fired such and such. So I'm not saying that whoever the baby father is somebody that should still be like it goes against the I don't know if it's going backwards, but there is a movement for everybody to aspire towards healthy co-parenting relationships. And no, that shouldn't be the number one solution because in the perfect world, we wouldn't need to co-parent. But we're not in the perfect world. We're in a situation where we got people that have needed to separate for whatever reason, and in order to better ourselves and really just create a better environment for the child to thrive, now we have co-parenting. So I think it goes like what you're saying goes against the notion of us being able to come together and hold value all the way around. So the mom holds value, the biological father holds value, and the man that she brings in holds value. Hopefully the woman that the biological father brings in holds value. We should all be able to come together and be on the same page about the fact that we're the adults of this situation and we need to set an example for the child to thrive under, you know.
that sounds good, but you know when the time to do that was? We all was together. That was the time to do that.
But it's not always like
The
that.
time to do that is when you was married. Not like, yeah, we're gonna be reasonable now that we ain't together. Nah, I don't, look, sure, that's y'all want to do that. That's a millennial thing. I'm from the age of divorce. Nah, ain't no reachbacks. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I told you I don't have the my forgiveness is I told you it's a character flaw. I admit it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying man, forgiveness and all that stuff. It like that mushy humanistic stuff, man. Life has beat most of that out of me. And I don't have that compassion, niceness. I'm low on that stuff. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. I admit it. You know what I'm saying? Somebody like, man, you claim you love our people. I do. You know what I'm saying? But part of that love is tough love,
Mhm.
right? Like I love our people enough that if I gotta throw somebody overboard to keep the whole ship from sinking, fine. I don't, ain't no hesitation. Like, okay, we throw him overboard. Is he breathing or not when we throw him overboard? You know, you know what I'm saying? That's all I need to know. Other than that, let the sharks have it. So, you know what I'm saying? Am I wrong in that? I'm probably, of course. Is that view anti-African? It probably is.
Because
That's just where I'm at in my life.
how you gonna say you upset with the little girl because in your mind I'm better than your father? Like that's like whoa, come on now. That's like it's a trend going on right now where I've mostly only seen women do it, but it's a woman that's with her new boyfriend and the boyfriend has a child and she'll take a picture with her boyfriend's child and say, "Oh, look at me with the look at me with the child. I'm gonna take a picture with him because the child's mother can't do anything about it." It's extremely toxic. Like you basically asking for trouble. And I don't know. I just feel like if we can do anything in the direction of positivity for the children, if we're doing anything that's for the benefit of the child, then we should try. So I don't think we should go around being like, oh, well, I'm better than your father. Even if you are, you could be absolutely correct. But I don't think that that's good for the child. I don't think it's good for the child to demean their biology. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I didn't say for the child to do that. I'm saying to me, it's disrespectful because if he had done this job, none of us would be here in this situation. The reason you're in my house eating my food, enjoying my heat and my streaming
mm-hmm.
is because for whatever reason he's unable to do his job for whatever reason. So for you to tell me you ain't my father, I ain't say I was your father, but I'm your father in this house. Now, if you want to go live with your father, that's up to you and your mother. But as far as I'm concerned, everybody can get up out of here if it's like that. If that's how we carrying it.
You gonna carry like that? I hear you.
So yeah, but like again, women view respect differently than men. Men like disrespect is like, oh, so y'all hate my guts. Like that's how we translate it. Like disrespect is you hate my guts, and if you hate my guts, that means you're my enemy. So all right, what we doing here? You know what I'm saying? I can't have no enemies in the household. Might go to sleep and wake up. You know what I'm saying? Don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
So am I taking it extreme? Absolutely. Y'all know those who know me for real know I'm an extremist. This is the bad part about the show. I'm talking to somebody that know me, so I'm gonna be even more myself, which is probably not a good thing. You're being completely honest. You know what I'm saying? That's right, but I'm naturally an extremist because we live in extreme times. And I was born on the back end of extreme times. Right.
Mm.
So, you know, I mean, I, even though I mean, the Panthers, they were still around. They was probably still under attack when I was born. Now I think about it. I mean, I just born in extreme times. I think at some aspect that has affected my personality. Plus, um, being under the tutelage of people like Dr. Khaled in his prime and other people, and you see the way the world has turned. You're just like, man, things are totally out of hand, which means in order for them to get in hand, you have to be totally out of hand. Right. So, and sister, I'm laughing because sister Shania asked a question. Say, are you saying stepmother can deal with disrespect better than men? Possibly. I don't know. I don't know that dynamic because
I think the
I'm
whole
not a woman.
conversation we were having earlier is that women are dealing with disrespect generationally more than men. Yes, we have been disrespected by our men for a long time. So yes, I think that would yes. The answer would be yes. And I was about to say, you mentioned the other day when we were talking about it, bullet point number 2, men on social media are largely declaring that Black women are not worth the, I think you said, sucky personalities. Is that how you said it? Our personalities suck. That's a form of disrespect right there.
Look, come on now. Do it. You gonna make me, you gonna have me up here looking like Kevin Samuels. We thought we had low views before. We really ain't gonna have no views by the time I'm finished. Okay. We met a long time ago, but we didn't start hanging out till recently. What did I tell you? You don't remember about the personality thing. I was like, yeah, you cool because you have a personality, right? I said, well, that wasn't a random compliment. That was an observation. A lot of Black women are not pleasant and interesting. It's almost like an either or thing.
Mm.
You either get a woman that's pleasant or you get a woman that's interesting. But a woman that's pleasant and interesting and intelligent, now what are we asking for? And then, oh, is she physically attractive too? Now, and see, you get to that point, just is like turn in your winning lottery ticket, grab the woman and leave because that's not on the market. It's just not. Maybe it's on the market. Maybe I can't afford it, and it's on the market, and I can't afford it. So therefore, I think it's not available. You see what I'm saying?
Mm.
Like a perfect example. Today, I saw a Lamborghini um, SUV. I didn't know Lamborghini made SUVs. You know why I didn't know? Because I can't afford a Lamborghini. That's why I don't know. So there is such a thing as you don't know about something, or you don't think something exists because you can't afford it. So that was
Mm.
you know what I'm saying? I walked in, looked, I was like, wait a minute, that's a Lamborghini logo. That's an
Mm.
SUV. When did Lamborghini make SUVs? Like literally, that's what I was thinking. So I'm just saying, if women come on TV, on not TV, on the internet every day and say they don't need men and Black men ain't this and Black men ain't that, and we gonna date outside our race and white men this and that and yada yada and so forth so on. I'm not saying that's a majority of women because it's not, but I'm just saying if that becomes the standard, then how can I say you have a great personality if you do talking about dating outside your race? No, your personality stinks. We talking about that. If you walking around with blonde weave, your personality stinks. If you walking around with them ridiculous eyelash, I hate them things. Them ridiculous butterfly eyelashes. First of all, how you even? I see how y'all get pregnant by the wrong man if you wearing them things because you can't see. You don't even know what the dude look like. You know what I'm saying? Um, I hate that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So if a woman is the opposite of that, she's the anomaly now. And maybe I'm in the hood too much. I've seen too many tattoos. I'm starting to see tattoos on faces, on women. I don't understand what's going on. Women smoking as much weed as dudes, which is crazy because I swear dudes can't walk down the street without smoking something. Everybody's vaping or smoking cigarettes or weed. Like, where are the decent women? You know what I'm saying? Because I know where they ain't, you know? And that's my fault because I can't afford them. You know, I know that's part of the issue. Let's just be honest.
Mm.
I know that for a fact. Um, but yeah, you can rebuttal or add to my rant. I'm doing a lot of ranting today. I don't know why. Yeah, I think it's your fault.
No, it's you do that always. It's just now you have somebody to cut through your rants. Um, I kind of want to go back to what you were saying about like the same conversation and not being able to. If you can't afford what you're looking for, then it's not gonna come around. But women do the opposite. Women will be in a situation where they're not in the right place in life, but they're still optimistic for the, like you say, the 6666 man to come around, and that's going to be the man that saves her. And I think that's because, like I said, the optimism, but also the spiritual side of like the internet and other women in general, just kind of being like, just wait, the right man is going to come for you, and life things are going, like, we have a more, because we're spiritually in tune, it's almost like we're trying to will that to happen for us. Whereas I don't think men,
That good old fashioned manifestation.
yes, I don't think men, either they don't believe in it or they just are not wired the way that we are. A man is more wired to be like, all right, let me go out here and work, and let me go out here and put my full effort in and really forget myself and put the mission forward, and then whatever happens happens. If I get a congratulation for what I did, then great. But for the most part, it's kind of just like, I don't know, men just kind of seem to be detaching themselves from themselves in order to go through the day, whereas a woman is gonna so a man is gonna detach from himself in that situation, and a woman is going to go even deeper into herself and try and, like you said, manifest from within the man that she's looking for, and she's going to project that desire of what it is that she needs from a man onto any man that shows up. So any man that shows up and is showing interest is going to be like, oh, this is the one I've been looking for. And it's like, well, hold on, that you had it in your mind what it is that you would like, and there's nothing wrong with that, but you can't put that onto him that he's going to show up the way that you want him to show up. So I just wanted to add to that.
Okay, and I'll say this, generally speaking, men are more logical, even though I'm struggling with that lately, especially in relationship stuff. But so for men, like, there has to be some empirical evidence of something before we can believe it. You see what I'm saying? Mm. So, like, man, I hate to say this, but when you look and you see so much negativity, there has to be some empirical evidence of something good happened before I can believe it. That's just me personally. Like, I have to see it. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise, I just look outside and I'm like, well, black people still been destroyed today. And I can just keep, what I'm saying? I keep doing what I'm doing. And I just have to live within the confines of we are being destroyed. And here is the things that I think I can do about it. Right? And nothing changes that unless something positive within that realm happens. Otherwise, it is what it is. And then if it's like, well, do I need to change something within itself? Yes, I do. Because you always need to change something. And then you try to change that. But still, empirically, you changing, if you don't see any empirical evidence of your change even being beneficial, then it's just like, okay, nothing good is just going to happen. Is it? This is what it is. you know what I'm saying? It's like, I did what I did, and it worked out this way or the other way, and then I have to move on forward from that. Like, there's no, there's no looking for some spook to save you, because it ain't gonna happen. Like, it just that's not how life works. Peace and blessings, Brother Crow. So let's get off this slide, because we've been on it for like forever, and I ain't got that many slides, but I don't think that we're gonna get through it like this. So you said I put the new leaders with a question, and you said that women are now leading. I think you said women are now leading majority of households, but I know you said where are they leading us? Mm-hmm. And then I found this data, and I was shocked. I was like, oh. In my belief, part of the sister's job is to teach the babies, right? It's part of the job description. What's our African proverb? You teach a man, you teach a person, you teach a woman, you teach a nation. African proverb, right? So I saw this. I don't even know how I saw it, but I guess I, I'm gonna use some spook teaching. I guess the ancestors are like, here's some data for your for your file. According to the National Assessment of Educational Progress, 84% of Black students in the eighth grade lack proficiency in mathematics. Somehow, 85% lack proficiency in reading. How in the world do we are we worse at reading than we are at math when everybody's been complaining about math since I was in eighth grade? I could I didn't believe it. I read it. I didn't want to believe it.
I
I
believe
was
it.
shocked. But
I,
then I thought about how many people come on the internet and they cannot write a complete sentence, and I'm like, you know what? this didn't start. This didn't start. This didn't start last night.
right.
But
And
it's
then
scary.
it is scary. We've been pretty much, what is the saying? People used to always be like, and still be like, oh, if you want to hide something from a Black person, put it in a book. That's been, since before I was born. People have been saying that. And the notion of like rejecting students rejecting school while they're in it. So if you're assigned something to read, for the most part, you're not gonna want to read it. And low key, I'm not even mad at that because a lot of the stuff they want us to read is trash anyway. But the issue is beyond the miseducation and the whole system really being a system of diseducation. So it makes you not want to learn. It makes you not even want to be educated. So I'm not surprised by those numbers at all. At all. It's a
And
big it's
here's
a
what is
big babysitting operation. It really is pre jail for real for real.
mm,
It's just a large socialization. Like you just in there socializing for the most part. You're not really in there doing nothing. Not for real.
mm, um, and I don't know. I don't know when the sister said this. I guess she was saying the good women don't got big butts. Uh, I ain't gonna lie, she might be on to something there, but that's another story. Shout out to our well endowed sisters who are also nice and smart and intelligent and kind and so shout out to y'all.
Shout out to
All
the
four of
woman
them.
down, sister.
Yeah, all four of those sisters. You know what I'm saying? But oh my goodness. Wait, man, what was I curious? Oh Lord. Oh no, this is what that diseducation, which is what Papa Rudy talked about as well. This is what that leads to. What it leads to is you are not you, but well, no, you too, but it leads to the African centered person arguing with an ignoramus that hasn't read any books because they can't. Not you know what I'm saying? And they want to debate with you about things that they don't know anything about because they
Mhm,
are like you can't debate with me, Amos Wilson, because I know you can't read the words in the book.
mhm.
Saying you can't debate with me about Marimba I need because I know you ain't read Urugu because I had trouble reading Urugu when I first picked it up. So I know you haven't read it, right? You want to argue and debate with me about um Jacob Carruthers or various scholars who have put out information. Like you haven't even read Message to the Black Man to disagree with it. And that's Elijah Muhammad makes it as simple and plain as he can. He writes for lower level people to elevate their mind. He doesn't write, Mama Remember Knees writing for college students. You know what I'm saying? Elijah Muhammad's writing for people in the gutter. You haven't even read that book. So what happens is then it leaves it up to the information to be interpreted by people who cater to that level of thought, right? The N-worders and the people that's married to mulattoes with Jewish parents and um, the homophiles and the people that got children by white women with Kemetic names and all that stuff. Them folks, right? That's what it leads to. That because what happens is you get to a point where you don't even have the capacity to take in new information, and then it's a wrap. Because what we never want to admit is we're in a thinking war against our enemy. Our enemy is slick and wily. He's not a fool. The regular European, he's a fool. You know how you deal with him. You just got to go blow for blow with him because he's not smart enough for you to debate. Because he gonna get mad and then try. Because he gonna think this end think he's smarter than me. Then he gonna try to kill you because you made him look like a fool because you supposed to be inferior intellectually. But Satan, right? He's a thinking person. He's planning this stuff out in advance. You got to think on his level. You playing a game of chess with him, right? Or it's like boxing with a boxer, as opposed to boxing with a brawler. You deal with regular European. You boxing a brawler. You dealing with that. You're dealing with that Satan. You boxing with a boxer. So, and then the second part says the vast majority of Black students are functionally illiterate. This means that in the future, the vast majority of adults will be functionally illiterate. You have anything to add to that, sister?
I would say we don't have to talk about the future. We can talk about right now. And functionally illiterate meaning that you're not capable. You might be able to read, but you are not able to comprehend what you've read or what someone has read to you.
I wish I could disagree with you, but I can't. So we'll move on to the next slide. And you said that Black women are culture setters. So let me do this. If you want to take this slide and go from there, you can. If not, I'll play the Lost Tapes commercial and then we can regroup and finish it out. So I'll leave it up to you. But I do have to step away for a second.
No problem. I can I'll read this one. So continuing on with Black women leading the household, our responsibility is also to be the culture setters. Black women are no longer at the front lines for our culture, but actually leading the vanguard towards the death of family values. And when we think about abortions not being just a solution for an emergency situation, but we really champion the idea of F that baby, F him and the baby. Like, and that's like mentally, how do you as a child looking at your mom say F the baby, how can you really grow up in this world thinking that you have somebody on your team or think that you really have a community? That don't make sense. So yeah, we talking about abortions and forget that baby, and I'm talking about it's really bad. If you're online looking at some of the things that these women say in regards to abortions, it's beyond sad. Foreign aesthetics, like the brother was saying, who was it in the comments? I don't know who Infinite Fire is, but called them the cumbrellas, which is wildly vulgar. The eyelashes and the hair and the clothes and everything just not at all being our culture. And we don't even have to say like, oh, everybody needs to be wearing African attire. We're wearing something that don't even make sense for us. We got women that are literally just wearing flat out underwear in the streets. Flat out underwear. I'm not talking about Daisy Dukes. I'm talking about flat out underwear in the streets. Is wild. So the idea that we have to look like prostitutes, where's that coming from? Isn't we're doing this and our children are supposed to look up to us? Is like, no, that doesn't make sense. Next, OnlyFans. We're out here telling the children, telling the youth that OnlyFans is a solution. Now I see that more so as a symptom of capitalism, because everybody's trying to get from up under the system. Everybody's trying to make it. And so it doesn't make sense to people to go clock in for 8 hours and make the amount of money that an OnlyFans person will make in one video, you know, in just a few hours. We're not taking into account the we're not taking into account the spiritual detriment of the situation, because we're not taught anything about our spiritual being. Just keeping it a buck. If we're functionally illiterate with reading, writing, and math, think about how illiterate we are spiritually. So a lot of our children, a lot of our women have no issue going on OnlyFans and showing their body for money, because it seems to be the logical conclusion for getting up under the capitalist system. Continuing on, OnlyFans, and then being alphabet allies. Being alphabet allies is detrimental to the safety of our families and our children, because you're bringing in a person that is mentally confused about the nature of the world, and could very honestly be a predator for your children. You wouldn't know, but you're just bringing them into your home. It's a terrible thing that a lot of our people are doing. Specifically, we're talking about women. I'm not trying to beat up on the women. It's just that we're talking about the women right now. If you got an issue with what we're talking about, please make sure that your issue is not that you're a hit dog that is hollering because you're doing some of the things on here. I can understand people being like, oh, don't beat down on the women because the women already got it bad. Like, I understand. I'm a woman myself. I get it. But we got to keep it a buck so that we're not falling into the exact same traps that our enemy has set for us. Anyway, children are no longer holding a sacred space in our communities or culture. And what I mean by that is, I feel like a lot of Black mothers no longer have that tick of keeping a safe space for their child. You see moms smoking with the children, and I don't mean adult children. I'm talking about toddlers smoking around their toddler children, cursing not only around the children, but cursing at the children. That's like regular practice in the streets now. That's a problem. It's beyond disheartening. I'm trying to think of other examples, like smoking and drinking, the music, listening to crusty, dirty, terrible, degenerate music with the children. That is like, we living in Twilight Zone. And so that's what I mean by, like, we no longer have a space where it's like, oh no, let them be a child. I don't think people even know what that means anymore, because I truly think that a lot of our people are still children themselves. That's why they don't have it in them to create a safe space for a child, because they themselves are a child. And really, I would rather say sacred space than safe space. I don't like the term safe space. Brother, you want to say something?
Yeah. First of all, yeah, I'm back. I only got to hear a little bit of what you said. But the last part you said about people not wanting to create or not being able to create a safe space for a child because they're basically children themselves. That's something that Dr. Neely, which is not a doctor, but he is a doctor in our community. Dr. Neely Fuller said during this time, and then we have been made adult children. And yeah, that's correct. You talked about the music. Oh man. The women have like taken over. Here's what's crazy, because as far as some of the newer artists, some of the women were more talented. I feel, even though they weren't some of them weren't writing their own stuff, but their ability to present the music like vocally and things like that were more talented than a lot of the newer dudes. They became more popular, and the example that they're setting is terrible. It's horrible, when I did my Godless Black Woman lecture, I just took the intro to a video. And it's funny because like for a year after that, I never actually watched the whole video. I just saw, I don't even know how I came about it. I just saw the intro and was like, whoa, that's crazy. This will let people understand what's going on. And it was I know it was Cardi B. I think it was Cardi B and City Girls video. So this is probably 5-6 years old now. And I just played the intro to the video, and people were like, "Oh my god!" Now, mind you, that's not the act. That ain't the whole video. That was like a minute. You know what I'm saying? Without the music, because the premise was they were having an international twerk competition or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
and then it went on from there. But I don't know how popular that song was. Maybe it wasn't popular at all. I know Cardi B and City Girls was popular at the time. I know that. I know Cardi B still kind of popular right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about, I don't even know if the City Girls are still together. But the point being is a lot of young women saw that behavior by them, Megan Thee Stallion, Nicki Minaj, and so forth, so on, and emulating that behavior and think that that behavior is a standard to, in essence, live down to. So, what do you think about that, sister?
It's the truth of the matter. The truth of the
Okay.
matter.
So, oh, my bad. Nah, I ain't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, I was pretty much done with that first bullet. Moving on to the next. I think this one's yours. You want to read that one?
Yeah. Black women openly admit that getting the bag and getting a degree is more important than building a family with a complementary mate. Some women online essentially advocate for acculturated prostitution of a marriage and family until they get too old. There's supposed to be two O's in the two to attract the type of men that they actually desire. And I'm just basing this off of what I've seen on the internet. You can make the argument that Black women are the second most capitalist people in America behind the hat. The hat is the most capitalist.
You would
And I
say
mean that
that the Black woman is more capitalist than the white man? Now I'm talking about the regular white man, not the super Caucasians.
at this point, I think so.
Dang.
Now, again, it's aspirational. It's not in actuality. But the regular European male doesn't talk as much about materialistic stuff and how they achieve it as the Black woman does. Maybe they do and around the dinner table, but publicly, not so much. Like their aspiration is not getting the bag as much as Black woman's aspiration is getting the bag. For
I mean,
what?
to be fair, I would argue that because we're in a worse situation financially, it does need to be on our mind more than the average white man. Just to be fair, because that's kind of a brutal analysis.
Well, I'm not saying it would be different if it was from the standpoint of let's build something communally, but it's not. It's about let's accumulate more material and
True.
not material for any type of nation building or even really, really women talk about it. But again, they don't talk about it in like to prepare themselves for a family or to take care of a family. No, it's just so I can take more trips, drink more mimosas, and have more brunch, and do stuff that I can put on Instagram. Doing it for the gram. And I saw that years ago when sisters, you take a sister out and she taking a picture of where she at without you in the picture. Right? As a man, you like, oh,
Right.
what we doing? And again, that was 15 years. Well, maybe not 15 years ago, but 10 years ago or whatever it was. So that's been going. So that's why I say that. And yeah, Because a brother, I heard the term before, but the brother said it a while ago. That's on YouTube. He says cultivated prostitution has become the norm, right? Transactional relationships. There's some, I don't actually know who the person is. Maybe she's not nobody. I don't know. But some woman, I thought it was an athlete. Maybe I'm wrong. She's talking about a man got to have $1,000 to date her. Like that's like an entry fee, like a club or something. And I'm just like, good luck with that. Because I didn't, not to be disrespectful, but the picture they showed wasn't complimentary enough for like it was ridiculous to me. It was just like, now I don't mean no disrespect, but I know better looking women who are cheaper. Just saying. You know what I'm saying? I know some women I could take out for dinner for $100 and $1,000. That's crazy. But I'm gonna get to Brother Crow. I'm gonna get to your question in a second. You have anything to add on that?
I did want to add, as far as the individualism and acculturated prostitution, going back to what Sister said earlier, integrative school psychologist. She said the hyper individualism is crazy. Most women don't even see how it's hurting us. We think we're helping ourselves, but really we're helping the enemy and tearing down the very support system we need. Because honestly, we're helping ourselves in the sense that we're buying things for ourselves, but all that is giving our dollars right back to the very people that are out to oppress us. So not even out to, that are actually oppressing us in real time. So I thought that comment fit perfectly in with what you were saying.
Yeah, shout out to the ISP. She's on YouTube, by the way, so you can follow her on YouTube. She makes content. Let me get to Brother Crow's question. Brother Crow says to the panel, "What are y'all thoughts on sisters getting mad tats on their body and body piercings?" Brother, sister, you want to take this verse?
I'm neutral on it because I don't personally see it as I can understand from a male's perspective it comes off as unattractive because it's like it shows that the woman is hardened or is coming off as a disrespect to her body and her temple. I don't see it as a I don't take it as, like, for example, piercings. That's something that we're known to do. In like in other cultures, like on the continent and motherland. So I don't look at a woman that has piercing and tattoos and immediately go in my mind is like, oh, she's somebody that's against the culture, or she's somebody that it has less value. Now, if it's a woman that is like head to toe, like face tattoos and it's like all everywhere, my first thought is she's hardened mentally. She probably is coming out of doing a bid or something like that. That's my thought. To which case I wouldn't, even then, I don't think of her. I'm not the kind of person that goes around thinking less of people for the most part. And that's only because I don't assume that people are on the level of understanding that we're on, as far as knowing that we're at war and having the courage to recognize it and do something about it. I don't assume that everybody is on that level. So when I see somebody that has a whole bunch of tattoos or piercings and everything, it doesn't really bother me because I wasn't expecting them to be of the understanding that we're at war and of the understanding that of the character and the courage to do something about it. So it don't really bother me too much. But I'm also a woman, so why does it matter what I think it would matter more so for you because I'm not supposed to be attracted to them anyway.
Yeah, that's true. Man. Now, see, because first of all, the brother said mad tattoos, which means, translating New York slang, that means basically your whole body. And to me, it's a sign of self-hate. And of course, we know, going back to the wars of Kemet, that the savages, the Europeans, they were the ones that had the tattoos. You didn't see any tattoos on black people in the wars of Kemet. So it's not our culture. So it's person that's uh, they're practicing European culture. And of course, they don't know that, but it doesn't matter because, again, I remember when no black people had tattoos, and this is what's crazy. I remember when black people looked at Dennis Rodman and laughed at him and acted like he was crazy when he got tattoos. But then when Allen Iverson got tattoos, then it became cool. Then Tupac got tattoos, and that opened up the floodgates. And of course, now 10 years after that, or 15 years after that, or whatever, now the women got the tattoos. And so we right back to where we were. Are the women following in real time? Nope, they're lagging behind, just like bad internet. You know what I'm saying? So all the people that went and got tattoos after Tupac and Allen Iverson and all that, here's your work. Here's the end result. So, but yeah, to me, it's a sign of trauma. It's a sign of not having a love of self and not having a knowledge of self. And if you see a woman with a lot of tattoos, it does not scream wife. I just put it that way. And what the brother say, body piercings. Um, I don't personally like them. Like, again, I know I know X Clan did it in the 90s. I did kind of look at them kind of sideways, but Brother Jay was flowing and the knowledge was dope. So I kind of bypassed it. I looked past it. I don't personally like it because I just don't like it. I'm just be honest, it's just me personally. What I hate, I'm gonna just be honest. I don't like women who do what everybody else is doing. I don't like women that follow the trends, because if you follow in the trends, um, brother has a saying, say, be careful following the masses, because most times the M is silent. So, so what I see is Sister doing what everybody else is doing. I'm not impressed. I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for, I guess, in reality, I'm looking for the anomaly, and that's probably why I'm not married now, because I've been looking for the anomaly for 30 years. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that's my thoughts on it, brother. I hope that answered your question. Anything you got to add to that, sister?
Just to give a sense of to be an advocate for balance. Is there a world where people are getting tattoos not because they hate themselves, but because they love the art form of it? Or does it have to be that they hate themselves?
Well, the Urugu has admitted that it's poisonous now, so kind of hard to say. You love yourself and poison yourself at the same time. Like, we already been poisoned enough. Like, at some point, you gotta be willing to throw away some poison. You know what I'm saying? If somebody's like, "Hey, I smoke, I drink, I get tattoos, I vape, I smoke weed," I mean, like, hey, what? Because you already eat and you eating McDonald's. I mean, come on now. And you don't exercise. Like, what you want me to say? You're not willing to throw away one of these things. You commit suicide in slow motion. Like, what's going on?
Yeah,
Anything you got?
I guess. I mean, if you put it like that, I just know that people are not going into it with that mindset, which, people aren't thinking about a lot of the things that they do. But I know for a fact that people aren't going into it with the, oh, I hate myself, so I'm about to go get tatted. That's not the thought processing that people have. But I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, just because it's not the thought process consciously. Subconscious mind is 99% of mind going to certain people. But let's get back to I want to get back to the slides. Oh, I guess I got to change it. My bad. Human error. the sister said. The sister said that if black women can't take care of their children on her own, she is shameful, and that's why they're saying getting it back. But what about the women that don't have children? Because they saying it's more women who don't have children saying it, sister, than women who have children. To be honest, because the college educated boss babes talking more about the bag than women who actually need the money for survival, in my opinion. So I'm not even giving that excuse. I'm not giving. I don't know if y'all know. I ain't giving no excuse today. You know what I'm saying? I'm not giving nobody no quarter today. I mean, I ain't in a good mood, but I am in a good mood. I'm only in a good mood because I'm enjoying this, but I'm not in a good mood. So yeah, that's what I'll say to that. And my thing, hey, you ain't get pregnant by Huey. That's all I'm saying. I'm not. I like some of the sisters I know personally. Y'all told me about the dudes. I don't know the dudes. I don't respect them dudes. Well, if they ain't in the movement, they ain't doing work. I don't respect them. I'm telling you, being completely honest, I don't. The vast majority of brothers I don't respect because I've given my life to this. And if you haven't, I don't really respect you because you're in the way. Because you stand in between me and our enemy. And I know if I go hard at the enemy, you will literally stand in the way because I've seen it before. So you're just keeping it on it. You know what I'm saying? Y'all, I ain't gonna lie, y'all should have never paired me with this sister because she done brought out the bad part. She brought out the bad Gemini. The good Gemini been masquerading all this time. Maybe that's why we ain't nobody watching. They like, oh my God, this dude done lost his mind. He got this girl on here and the real him show up. Anyway. Oh man. Now, sister, I need you because I need you to break down the first half of this because I don't know if this what I put was what you're thinking or were you leaning in another direction.
The direction that I was leaning was the conversation that people have about what do you bring to the table. And for the most part, people are talking about what skill sets do you have that you can bring to the household if we're to couple. So you said men have quantified the black woman's value in dollars. Women do. Oh, I said that. Women do the same, but capitalism is real, so that's a big reason why. That's like the OnlyFans discussion. That's the discussion of, like you were saying, the woman said, "I'm not interested in dating anybody unless he has at least 1,000 to put on the table." And she was saying that, I read that article. She was saying that to say, like, I'm not interested in wasting my time. So I need to know that you have an actual commitment to me. And then just in general, because she's where she is in her life as far as her career and athleticism and all of that, there's a certain ranking of people that she's only interested in speaking to. And so that's her prerogative. She can go about it like that if she wants to. I also know, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the brother Alkaline. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I can't remember his name right now, but it's a brother on there that talks about how much money he pays his wife, not only just for being his wife, but whenever she has one of his babies, he pays her for that too. And he's always advocating for women to make men.
Yeah.
What
You're
is it?
talking about a Yada awakening dude.
Yada awakening. Yeah.
Like dudes actually hate that dude.
I know.
I don't really pay him no attention because first of all, I want to know where he got his money from. Because I look at most dudes on the internet now as agents. Like, because the stuff you be saying don't be making sense and it doesn't contribute to us destroying our enemies. Because that's where I'm at. I'm like, look, we under physical assault. I'm in a city that's occupied. Man, I can get beat over the head by whatever M16 rifle butt for rocking the type of gear that I'm rocking because it's RPG gear. So you talking about, oh, I give my women this and that, and bruh, bring me the head of 4 Urugu, man, and shut up. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, seriously.
Yeah.
The stuff be so irrelevant. And I'm just trying to figure out, I'm like, okay, because in me, it's more like you showing off. You not, you haven't said, because again, people always talk about how much money they got. We don't even have businesses with people paying a living wage. So how much money do people really have? Right? I'm talking about people I know that's millionaires and they ain't paying black people no money. Or they don't want to play black people because black people are like, hey, you ain't paying no money. So they paying non-black people for in their black business. You walk in a black business, you like, I remember I walked in this dude's business one time and it was a whole European in there. I'm like, what are we doing? I'm looking at people that introduced me to. I'm like, I thought you said this is a black business. Why this Yoruba female in here? That is woman or something? What's going on? So yeah, nah, the Yada Awakening dude. I don't know very much about him, but I saw the clip when he said that, and I'm like, okay, congratulations. How does that help us avoid being exterminated? Because that's where I'm at nowadays. All I see is us getting exterminated. And when I hear any man on the internet that got a large following and he ain't talking about that, I ain't even gonna say what I really think. I ain't gonna say it. Y'all know what I'm thinking. If you know me, you know what I'm thinking. That's why I can't say it. You know what I'm saying?
See, brother, you got ripped off. Supposed to be here to help with your monetization because you're going off the rails at this point. I hear you. I brought it up because to me he comes off as the one clickbait, right? Like women are gonna flock to that message. Hearing a man say what they want to hear, they're gonna flock to it. So I see it as clickbait, and just being an instigator. Like you said, he's just showing off and instigating for real. Because you're right. If he was really about the movement, you would see more so him creating avenues for other people to benefit from the wealth that him and his family are creating, as opposed to it just being a we are the Joneses type thing. So I definitely hear where you're coming from.
Yeah, it's like conscious it's like conscious talented tiffism. You know what I'm saying? Like you put a conscious veneer over the same talented tiff arguments that we've been having since the small hats started the Harlem Renaissance.
Yeah, that's real. And then let me see. Oh, men have lost the spiritual value that a woman can bring. Now, that's one thing that I say, listening to the brother and a lot of other things that he does talk about how, because he's trying to get away from him, just in general, the whole conversation about men needing to pay for a woman. The brother brings up, and it needs to be brought up, that a woman has spiritual value. That's something that we're not taught because, like I said earlier, we're spiritually illiterate. Nobody talks about spirit. You have a group of Christians still within the community that are actively, but we know how that goes. So for the most part, we could say that Black people in America and in the West in general are spiritually just void. We don't have that conversation and that practice in our homes, in our communities. So it's very easy to just look at a woman and be like, what is your purpose here? You can't add value to, you can't go work the jobs that we need you to work because you're smaller, you're not as strong, you're this and that, you're emotional, you got to take a week off or 2 weeks off because you're having your period or whatever. So it's very easy to devalue women when you don't look at the spiritual value that we inherently have. And there was a conversation I was listening to earlier talking about how a lot of men will not want a woman around because naturally women bring problems. And it's not that we're bringing problems because we're problematic. We're bringing problems because we have the spiritual sense to be able to call out different issues that men might not be able to see. And so that's just a part of our nature. And a man that's really in tune with himself and with his woman won't see it as, dang, she always coming with, nagging and talking about things that need to be done, whatever. And instead he would be grateful for, okay, I'm glad I have this compliment on my side that's going to be able to be an extra set of eyes for me, you know.
Well, I'm gonna say this as a man. You know how
Mm-hmm.
women used to always talk about Kevin Samuels, like, oh, it's his tone.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what? When it comes to bringing up those issues, a lot of times it's your tone. How are the issues brought up? How are they presented? You know what I'm saying? That makes a difference. It's a different like I had to learn from having a sister around that it's a difference between as a man, it's a difference between being asked a question and being questioned by a woman. Those are two different things, right? I'm the type of person I don't like a lot of questions, especially if I'm in the midst of trying to figure something out, trying to do something. I just don't, because if I had the answers, we wouldn't even be having the discussion. In fact, I'd already be doing what I'm doing. So I don't know. So you questioning me at that time is irritating to me because it's just a reminder that I don't know. I know I don't know. That's what I'm trying to figure it out. And you're questioning me at the same time. I was like, bro, how do you think this is helping right now? Like I need all the mental energy I can to figure out this problem. And you are reminding me that the mental energy I'm using is not sufficient. Right? But it's a difference between being questioned and being asked a question where someone is seeking clarity because they might have the answer or at least have something that can inspire the answer, but they're not 100% sure of what's going on, right? So I had to learn that as a man because to me they were the same thing, but they are not the same thing. There's definitely a nuance as a man that you have to learn. There's a difference. Just and like what you're saying, presenting the fact that there's an issue as opposed to nagging. Those are two different things. If the toilet is leaking, the toilet is leaking. Hey, you know what I'm saying? Like it ain't nagging. The toilet is leaking. That means somebody, whether you or the plumber, has to do something about it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just because the person brought the issue don't mean that they the reason the toilet is not leaking.
Mm-hmm.
Toilet could have been leaking, but you never noticed.
Mm-hmm.
And they brought it up. So as men, that's an issue sometimes that we just have to deal with of accepting it, not necessarily that a woman is bringing the problem, it's just a woman that pointing out the problem that previously existed and saying, hey, are you gonna do something about it? Right?
Right.
It's the Robert F. Williams situation. Robert F. Williams, they had a situation in Monroe, North Carolina. The sisters were being brutalized and violated, and Europeans were doing stuff. And he took it to the court, and they lost the court case. And then the women said, "What you gonna do about it now, Robert?" Because obviously, what he had done was not sufficient. He's part of the NAACP. He went along with the NAACP program. That wasn't sufficient. And then what he say? Well, I'm a veteran. I'll handle this. I'll handle this the way I was trained by the army to handle. He didn't get no more questions from the sisters after that
Mm-hmm.
because he took care of the problem. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Robert F. Williams had passed away like I don't know, maybe 15 years before I heard her interview with his wife, Mama Mabel. She's still talking about that man with reverence. Why? Because he took care of the problem. Plain and simple. My grandmother, I used to listen to my grandmother and grandfather argue all the time about stuff. My grandfather's favorite thing is, why didn't you tell me, fill in the blank on whatever it is. I don't know why he never knew about this stuff other than the fact that he worked a lot. And he worked, I think he worked at night. I think he was working some weird hours. So, it was stuff he didn't know. And he would always say, why didn't you tell me? He never, what's weird is he never say, hey, you nagging me with this stuff. And somehow he just never knew. You know what I'm saying? But he passed away a long time ago. My grandmother lived long past him. My grandmother still spoke of him with love and reverence. Why? Because once he knew, after they had the "why didn't you tell me" argument, you know what I'm saying? he got the stuff done, whatever it was, and to the point where to me it was funny because I'm like, man, I know how this argument that's not even really an argument is going to go, but they're going to argue. And then he's still going to do what need to be done anyway. So I don't even know why we, I don't know why we can't fast forward past
It's
that
just
part.
part of the dance. It's just part of the dance at this point.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So as men, that's something we got to deal with. So I just took it as I thought you were talking about like the whole sexual marketplace value thing, which I thought of as men putting value on by that part. And as far as like spiritual value, like you said, most men aren't thinking about that because they never experienced it. They haven't experienced a woman like that. Their mother wasn't like that. There's not a lot of women in tune enough spiritually to bring that type of value to you. A woman that's in tune spiritually will warn you about something before it happens, right? A woman that's in tune spiritually will be like, "Yeah, I know so and so is your boy, but you better watch him." Right? A lot of dudes now they be like, "Oh, you don't want my boys around," they get emotional like they the woman. But if you but if you know the woman's in tune, you be like, "Huh, maybe I need to watch it." You know what I'm saying? And then you find out somebody tell you months later, "Yeah, man, I was hanging out with so and so, man, and he was he was talking about, you think you this and that since you know what I'm saying?" You be like, "Huh?" You know what I'm saying? They backbiting, and you don't even know why. Or one day you see him and he be trying to talk to your woman, you were like, "Yo, what kind of disrespect is this?" So,
Right.
I mean, it's just those things, man, that aren't they aren't tangible, but they are valuable. But a lot of women don't. They're not in tune enough to bring those things to the table. And then another thing with what men are talking about, the table. What the men are saying is, how can you add value to my life? But it's not always monetarily like women think. Like, can you, when I am, when things aren't going well and I'm at my wit's end, can you nurture me and strengthen me enough to make it through the storm till I get back to myself? Right? Or when you pack up and leave me, like, "Oh, not the man I thought he was. I'm out." You know what I'm saying? That's something that men talk about a lot, but men don't see it a lot. So they think, well, women can't do it. And that may be part of the woman being in tune. And another thing is men think, and this ain't even necessarily the case, but men think that women, as they get older, have done those things for other men, but won't do it for them. So therefore, what value does she have? Because women will sit around and be like, "I'm not doing XYZ no more. I did such and such for such and such." You're like, "Yeah, you held down the local drug dealer in jail and then he got out and got with somebody else. How's that my fault? Why was you with the local drug dealer?" You know what I'm saying? That's what the men are saying. And to be honest, I use that example because I've literally seen that. Like, literally, where, sister holding down some dude in jail. And I'm like, okay, cool. I know not to get serious about this because those your folks. So, um, if you had anything to add to that, sister, I think that was our last slide.
Um, I wanted to go back when you were talking about the difference between questioning and having a question. And I think that kind of ties into the spiritual value conversation as well, because to be in tune with your own femininity is to kind of understand the difference between the two, or when to gauge your tone in the way that you're questioning, or the severity in which you're questioning something, or being able to fall on faith and say, I gave him the first warning. I just got to sit back and see how it goes, and I get to a place where now we going back and forth over the toilet leaking, and that's not helpful at all. So I just wanted to add that in.
Okay, sister. So I'm just gonna close out with these closing thoughts, and then we can go from there.
Hmm.
But you know what? No, I'm not. Well, yes, I am. I'm gonna bypass the Lost Tapes video today. I'm just gonna bypass it because we've been on here 2.5 hours. So
No, you can't. No,
uh
you cannot do that because just the other day you was talking down on the women for not buying the lost tapes in the month of Black August. So when we talking with all the women, you can't. No, you can't do that.
okay. Well, y'all gonna get this Lost Tapes video, and then we're gonna close out because, as I said, I ain't scared because y'all in here now. Don't think I'm scared on my show, right? I said that not one sister has purchased not one lecture of the Lost Tapes videos, but multiple brothers have bought the entire set. And one video is $25, but the entire set of 5 videos plus the bonus video is $100. So you pay $16 per video. So yes, I did say that. I said I am disappointed that no sister has not bought one single video. You're gonna say, well, DC, I don't know how to buy a video. You know how you buy a video? You send me an email, you say, I want the Lost Tape video. Where's my banner at?
See?
Yeah. Where's my all right, here we go. You email me, right? Or if you follow me on Instagram, you can DM me on Instagram at dc.radical1, right? And then after you either email me, and the email me is dc.radical_1@protonmail.com, then you send the money via Cash App at $DCRadical1. And then I send you the video. That's how the process works. But you're going to say, well, DC, I don't know what Jeannie be talking about on these Lost Tapes. And now I'm going to play the Lost Tapes so you know what he's talking about. How about that?
Now, we're going to go and talk about AIPAC. What is AIPAC? The American Israel Public Affairs Committee. AIPAC. What does AIPAC do? AIPAC is the gangster with a whole lot of money that says, I'm going to buy you and pay you money, and you're going to make decisions that I want you to make. You're gonna do as I tell you, because I got my hands in your pockets. And they attached to people like Jeffrey Epstein, who take videos of the people that are supposed to be our representatives, and as they take those videos, they hold them hostage and say, vote as I tell you to vote. Do as I tell you to do.
I didn't even, the concept. I saw Naeem Akbar talking that black talk that he gave, and I was out there telling everybody, yo, this dude gay. You remember back in the 90s, people hate me. Oh, this dude gay, man. We can't do this. You can't be up there talking black and be gay too. I was like, okay, he out the way. No, we're not doing this. I'm saying this because I did not imagine a time. Little old me from Southeast, where if they tell us to take a jab, stick ourselves, I'm gonna be the only one that wanna say something. Maybe the brother out in Whitaker, brother Darren, we got a few brothers, but I'm talking about like, I'm thinking whatever they tell us to do, we got black people who studied under these people, we gonna say no. Or we gonna at least wanna investigate. I'm thinking it'll always be that way. I'm thinking if somebody's pushing this stuff, R. Kelly molesting children, we're gonna deal with this dude. I'm thinking everybody's gonna agree with that because you don't mess with children.
That's right.
That's what I thought was, that's just how I thought we were. That is who we are intrinsically, but I'm saying, I didn't imagine a world where I'm saying, don't vote for this dude. It's a trick. Come on, y'all. He's a mulatto who didn't grow up around black people. He a gay dude. He gonna push homosexuality. Y'all can't see this? I'm thinking, I'm telling y'all before he get in office, what are you talking about? And people who are the hardest knows people in African nationalism. I mean, the hard ones looking at me, nah, you can't do that, dude. Y'all don't see this? I'm actually the only one that's gonna say, yo, you don't see. And then when he gets in and does what I say he does, okay, I saw. You messed up the first time. Okay, I saw. I'm thinking, okay, but now he going back for office. He done already made gay marriage legal. All right, now you get it. The dude, I told you he was a punk, he was a gump in the beginning. I still couldn't conceive. No, dude. If you're looking for somebody else to do it, you ain't studied the lessons of history. When you're passionate and pulled to do something and can't stop, it's a message being given to you. Ain't nobody coming. You gotta believe in yourself, because somebody decided that you was supposed to do something. So you can't turn it off and stop looking for people. You just gotta do what you do. We looked in the past, 1972. I was born in 1973. I'm almost 50 years old. I'm 50 in December. A year before I got here, they must have known I was coming. They said, let's get this thing out here now before you get here. They did what's called the Gay Rights Platform of 1972. This is just official document, sharing information. If you read, go look it up online for yourself. They're making it difficult to find. I don't know if people have been noticing this, but things that you used to could easily go and put it on the internet and find them, you can't find this stuff no more. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff you can't find. But I'm gonna bring your attention to just one. It's a bunch of stuff, all of it's aimed at children. Sex education to children, adoption, gay adoption of children. But there's one that's most important for what we're talking about today. And they break it down from the federal level and the state level. On the state level, they say every single state, they want laws repealing all laws governing the age of sexual consent. I'm gonna say that again. They want the repeal of all laws governing the age of sexual consent. Meaning a newborn baby, they want it to be legal to have sexual contact with a newborn baby. What year did I say? 1972. That's 51 years ago. Fast forward 21 years from then to 1993. In the interest of producing that result, they had right downtown, 30 minutes, not even 30 minutes if there's no traffic, go right up here East Capitol, go all the way up the road, you run right into it. They had the 1993 Gay Rights March on Washington. Let's see what that was about.
Check one.
Did y'all hear what they just said? Do I need to play that again? He said, don't play it again. He said, no, thank you. All right, I want to do this again. They said, we're young, we're queer. We're going to do what? We're going to rule the world. Now remember, 21 years before that, what did they say that they wanted for children? Repeal all laws governing the age of sexual consent. They want to have sex with children and make it totally legalized. 21 years after they said that, they said, we're young, we're queer, we're going to rule the world. That was in 93. This is 30 years after that. So they've had 30 years to say, we're queer, we're going to rule the world, which at that point they said, we haven't gotten to the point where we rule the world, because if they did, they wouldn't be saying that. They would say, we're young, we're queer, and we rule the world. They didn't say that. We're young, we're queer, we're going to rule the world and have it our way.
All right. That was a Lost Tapes commercial. And Sister Najai, well, Sister Shaniqua had a question, say, how can you nurture the men that say that I guess the women are nothing? You don't try to nurture those men. You nurture the men that doing the work. I don't know how many times I've said it, but the men who don't value black women just disregard it. Like, there's no need to deal with it. Because there are plenty of black men who desire and love and respect black women. Those should be the only men that get your time. That's my answer to that. I don't know if Sister Najee got anything to add to that.
I would add to that it's easier said than done, because for the most part, the men that we're dealing with are not openly, purporting themselves to be disrespectful towards women or not for the movement, or like it don't be that easy how you said it just now. But yes, your answer is accurate.
All right. Well, close this out. When looking at the current condition of black love and relationships, we must remember one thing: we are being warred upon by enemies who want us removed from the planet. All analysis that admits this simple but ugly truth is rendered useless in the current time period. Before we can realistically make changes necessary for our survival, we must accept this reality. Our enemies understand that every black child born to a loving mother and loving father has the potential to be the black messiah that sparks a revolution in the black world. Their solution to this potential problem is to stop us from producing those children in a healthy and loving environment. So with that, I thank Sister Najee for co-hosting with me. We are going to do this again. Right now, I plan to do a Sunday show with more sisters. I will give you all more information on that. I'll give you the confirmation by Saturday. And Sister Najee, if you have anything to say before we close out, the floor is open.
Sure. I would say overall, the worth of a black woman is higher than ever, because we have so very few black women that are actually doing the work necessary for our community to thrive. So if you find a black woman that's out here actually doing the work, should treat her as if she is the rarest entity in the world. Same goes for black men. If you find a black man out here that's doing the work, should treat him as if he's, one of the only black men that's out here doing the work. Follow me on Instagram. It's on the screen, NFR, Nefer, not for real, Najee, and on Rumble, where I do videos. I also stream on Twitch, same NFR, not for real, Najee. I enjoyed doing the call with you today, Brother Conrad, because you got a whole different personality when I'm around. I don't know why it's different. I guess the extremism that I hold, when countered with yours, it kind of pushes you off your center. Maybe that's what it is. The center that you usually have on the show is a little bit more fun, I would say. So today's episode was fun. I look forward to continuing
it. Wait a minute. Did you say this? You say this was more fun than I normally am?
Your personality was different this time, yes, and it was fun, is what I'm saying.
Okay, I'm gonna blame you when this video doesn't get monetized. It's your fault.
That's fine. I'll take that.
Plus, but you got Rip Off wasn't around to be like, come on, bro. So I ain't had no regulator, no filter. So thank you all for listening. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I've been your host, DC Radical One, along with Nefer Najee. And with that, I say BB48 and straight black pride.
BB48.
Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also follow us on our other social media platforms. On Instagram, we're at dc.radical, the numeral 1. On Twitter, we're at dc_radical_ONE. And the Cash App is $DC Radical 1. Again, thank you for subscribing. A beat before ODA and straight black pride.